It is time for Sound Off. Interesting people in sports saying interesting things. And let's start with John Harbaugh. He had this to say about his quarterback, Lamar Jackson.
We got to build a car. We got to set the car up. If Lamar's a driver, he's got to be involved in the setup of the car even more. Last year, that wasn't even possible, right? This year, he's going to be involved, and we've talked about, he's already involved, about what we talked about yesterday, in setting up that car.
I'm sorry. I'm not 100% sure I understand. Dominique, can you interpret that for us?
Yeah. I mean, I'm lost. That's the Harbaugh that normally makes the most sense,
right.
And I like that one. I would love to sit and chat with him, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Normally, I mean, I've bought a lot of cars in my life, never set it up before. I'm not sure how much sense that makes, but I suspect that it has something to do with Lamar not being available during a portion of last year's offseason, and I guess he'll be involved in making some of those decisions going forward. But it does seem like Lamar is taking more and more control of this team, which I think is the best version of any team, is when your quarterback is taking control of how the car is set up, I guess.
So the point is, Lamar Jackson was, for all intents and purposes, not a part of the Ravens.
Right.
Pretty much right up until the draft last year.
Yeah.
Which means that when they were going through whatever decisions they were making, draft-related, free agent-related, etc., Lamar Jackson wasn't a part of that. I assume that's what he's talking about.
It is. Like the hiring of the offensive coordinator, the signing of Odell Beckham, the drafting of Zay Flowers, like all those things were done in the hope that it would make Lamar happy. He did sign right before the draft, so I guess that was technically after, but I assume they already knew which way they wanted to go.
Sure.
But yeah, and now, because he was estranged from the team, he was demanding trades, right? He wasn't, so I think that's what he's referring to. They head into free agency this year, Lamar will be involved.
Big fella, what do they need? If you're Lamar Jackson, what's the, and I said there's one thing we're going to go out and get you. What is the one thing he needs to get that team at least one more game in progress to get to the Super Bowl for the first time?
I still think offensively, I think they still need another offense, like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like I just think that, Odell Beckham was diminished. Obviously, Zay Flowers is outstanding. He was young. I think they need another proven guy on the edge on that offense for the Ravens.
My concern with them is defense. Losing 3 coaches on defense, including the coordinator, that's going to be tough. Major transition on that side of the ball.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what direction they want to go. In the meantime, you said one Harbaugh usually makes sense and the other one a little more confusing. Let's hear from the other Harbaugh. That's Jim talking about a quarterback conversation that he once had with me.
Going back to that time, I remember the conversation well with Greeny, and we were talking about J.J. McCarthy and what I thought of J.J. McCarthy. I just think he's tremendous, and I was comparing him to some of the great quarterbacks that are in the league. We got off onto Justin Herbert. And there's no secret here, right? I mean, everybody knows how great of a player he is, right?
So that's it. I mean, that's the guy he has, like, that's why I was, again, I'm not an insider. I don't do your job. I couldn't do it if I, but no, he told me how much he liked Justin Herbert. He just, yes, he was talking about his own quarterback. He was talking about great young quarterbacks in the league. He was not talking about leaving Michigan or coaching in the league or anything else. But it was noticeable how his eyes lit up when he was talking about Justin Herbert, and that conversation went on and on. Some people have said, D. Wood, this is the best thing that ever happened to Justin Herbert, was Jim Harbaugh getting hired to be his coach. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely, because there's no denying the talent of Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is one of the most talented, 3 or 4 quarterbacks that we have in our league. And I think Hembo threw me a stat, man, that I think just speaks to what Jim Harbaugh is going to bring to the table. Justin Herbert has 22 one-possession losses since he's entered the league. That's the most in the NFL. 49ers had the best record on one-possession games during Harbaugh's tenure, 28-1. So that's what. No, there's not going to be any more charging out there, for these Chargers. It's going to be a whole new ball game, and those guys are going to be playing their best ball when it counts the most.
28-1.
That's pretty good.
That's unbelievable.
That's supposed to even out. That's supposed to be lucky.
What do you think, Neek? Is this the best thing that ever? Justin Herbert, whose talent and production have not been matched by the winning, right? He's done everything but win. A lot of people, myself included, have mostly blamed the coaching there. Is this his opportunity to join that group at the very, very top of the league with the Burrows and the Allens and the Lamars?
Right. Well, first of all, Jim made perfect sense, was speaking directly to the point. No need for for confusing metaphors, he made perfect sense. And yeah, I do think this is a great situation for Justin Herbert, and frankly for the whole Chargers organization, that since they've moved to LA have kind of seemed a little kind of slapdash. It feels like Jim Harbaugh is going to come in and institute a new way of doing things, and this team will fall in line pretty quickly. As long as they make some good front office decisions and, I guess, replenish this roster, I think they'll be competitive in that division with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Fascinating. Now, this was not on camera, but I will read you his quotes. He said, obviously, there's a lot of changes going on, a lot of things going on. I can't really put the carriage before the horse. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you what the future holds, but I'm still being me. And when asked if he was ready to move forward with the Bills, he replied, I'm ready to go no matter which way it goes. It's not a very definitive response. It's not, yes, I'm dying to be back in Buffalo. I want to finish my career there. What should we make of that?
I think there's a chance that he's elsewhere. I do. And there's a lot to figure out in Buffalo. They have to replenish in the defensive secondary. Even if Diggs is back, they probably need to add a piece at wide receiver, maybe one or two. But look, he kind of vanished from the offense a little bit the second half of the year when Joe Brady became the offensive coordinator. Brady is back as offensive coordinator next year. We know that last offseason there was some dissatisfaction with Stefon Diggs and the team, Stefon Diggs and the coaching staff. So we don't know where that relationship stands. The contract is not easy. Like, it would be a $31 million dead money hit if they were to trade him. But if he were to want out, hypothetically, if he were to want out, then maybe you could work with him on the contract a little bit and maybe figure something out. But I would not be surprised if this was not the last time we heard about this. I think there's a chance he goes elsewhere.
Yeah, it has just felt for a while, D. Wood, and it's not clear, at least to me, exactly what the genesis of it all is, and it may be more than one thing. But it has just not felt for a while like everything is A-OK with Stefon Diggs in Buffalo.
Yeah, it seemed like it's been trending that way pretty much, a couple years ago, the second half of the season, his production really diminished. And then obviously we know about that playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals where, just saw the frustration and how animated he was on the sideline. And it's just been trending downward ever since. And Joe Brady coming in, being a new offensive coordinator, we saw that his role was diminished again this year. Yeah. Can that relationship be repaired? Because something is going on with Stefon Diggs and this organization.
Neek.
Yeah, Diggs was the spark that kind of got Josh Allen's career to shoot off into the stratosphere. And it feels like they've gotten that out of him now, and it doesn't feel like he's as important to the offense. I still think he's an incredibly talented receiver, but whatever's going on there doesn't feel like it's going to end well with Stefon Diggs, which is bad for Diggs probably to go somewhere else because the chances are the quarterback won't be nearly as good as Josh Allen. But it also sucks for the Bills because, to Graz's point, they don't have like a huge stockpile of great receivers. Even if they keep Diggs, they need another receiver opposite him. So when your quarterback is as good as Josh Allen, it's important to have weapons that he trusts and likes to throw the ball to. And we at least know that at some point he trusted Stefon Diggs. And if he's gone, they're going to have to go get 2 or 3 new receivers.